Alberta Justice Minister Casey Madu is calling on Ottawa to allow individual people to carry pepper spray in order to defend themselves against premeditated racist and other attacks. At present, defending yourself with pepper spray is an offence under Canada's criminal code. And I keep saying, and I know it's going to irritate some people, but it's a play on words, because pepper spray is an irritant. It's not a .44 Magnum. Minister, how are you? Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you so much, Roy, and for having me.
It's always a pleasure to speak with you. Would you share what caused you to take the decision to seek an amending of the criminal code to permit the carrying of pepper spray by individuals?
Roy, we have seen an increase in hate-motivated crimes against mostly vulnerable Albertans. And we, at the provincial level, have doing everything we can to make sure that we protect vulnerable Albertans. For example, Roy, we have put in place the Alberta Security Infrastructure Program that would grant $100,000 to help cultural minority communities protect their facilities. We have established the Alberta Hate Crime Coordination Unit. We have appointed a hate crime liaison officer. We are doing everything within our jurisdiction as a province. There are other things that are required that lies in the hands of the federal government, and that includes my call to Justin Trudeau to work with us to amend the criminal code to allow for individuals who are vulnerable to these attacks to carry pepper spray, as well as to implement mandatory minimum sentences.
Yeah. Minister, I understand that people who are vulnerable to attacks motivated by hate need to have the right to protect themselves, and pepper spray is one of those first defense tools that can, I keep using the word irritant because that's what it is, that can so irritate the breathing and the eyes of an attacker that they break off the attack. It's also a tool that is possible, that is useful to other vulnerable people, to women and to older Canadians who might be seen as a target of opportunity.
Absolutely. Roy, the Albertans want action. Canadians want action. Mm-hmm. We have taken action at the federal level. At the provincial level. I want Justin Trudeau to take action at the federal level. I have always heard them say they are committed to protecting our Canadians, protecting vulnerable Canadians. Here is a classical example for them to take action. Roy, talk is cheap. Talk is easy. We are tired of the virtual signaling coming from the federal government. Now it is time for them to take action. This is a common sense proposal. As rightly said, it is an irritant. It would help vulnerable women ward off their attackers.
What are you expecting, Minister, from the Prime Minister of Canada? Have you heard back from either the Prime Minister or the Federal Justice Minister?
To be blunt, Roy, this federal government led by Justin Trudeau is not listening to Albertans. My hope is that they follow through on their professed commitment to protect Canadians, their professed commitment to protect minority cultural communities. We have seen increases in attacks against those groups. This is a common sense proposal that would help those communities, and indeed any Canadian, any Albertan who feels threatened by these attacks. I am not losing my breath, but I am going on the commitment that I have heard from the federal government that they are serious about combating hate-motivated crimes, and this is one of the ways to accomplish that.
Minister Madu, what options do you have as a provincial Justice Minister and Solicitor General?
Roy, my option is to continue to implement policies, programs, put forward bills that are within the provincial jurisdiction. When it comes to pepper spray and mandatory minimum sentences, those are criminal code provisions that requires amendment to the criminal code. That is a federal matter.
Yeah. Now, police chiefs in the province of Alberta have expressed some concerns. Tell us about that, please.
Roy, it is disappointing to hear from the police chiefs in our province expressing concern. And let me add, it is not all of the police chiefs. I have heard it from individual police chiefs. I understand they have an association. I'm expressing concern. I understand they want to sit down with me. I am prepared to sit down with them. But at the end of the day, they also have an interest in making sure that we protect these Albertans and these Canadians. I have asked them, what more do we need to do beyond what we have done so far? And so far, they have not been able to put forward anything beyond what we have done so far. So my hope is that they would work with us to see the benefit of amending the criminal code to allow for pepper spray. There are obviously parameters that we have to put in place to ensure that this is not misused. In any case, our criminal justice system is well capable to deal with those who would attempt to misuse the pepper spray when we put it in place.
Yeah, currently, as you well know, Minister, currently a person using pepper spray as a defensive tool to save his or herself from injury or possible death can, under the Criminal Code of Canada, spend more time in prison than the attacker.
Roy, it is ridiculous. Why should someone who is being attacked, who has just taken a life-saving step to protect and to preserve themselves from harm or from death, be the one to go to prison rather than the attacker? I would prefer the attacker to be sprayed than to send it to threaten an innocent citizen who's been attacked from going to prison. This is one of those ridiculous provisions that we have in the criminal code that I think the time has come to get rid of it.
Yeah, and it's not a hypothetical situation, Minister, again, as you well know, because I've spoken on the air with Canadians who were criminally charged after defending themselves from home invaders, and these Canadians included a 69-year-old man who defended himself against 3 home invaders in eastern Canada and in the Atlantic provinces, and he was facing years in prison while his attackers faced far less time. So he's defending himself and his life after being attacked inside his home, and he's the one who's facing this more serious criminal charges. The whole system has to be looked at, but you're not looking at that situation. You're looking at making pepper spray legal. Minister, it just sounds terribly reasonable to me.
It absolutely reasonable, and that is also what I'm hearing from across rural Alberta. They are facing home invasion, attacks upon attacks. And if you recall, Roy, that was the reason why we made changes to the Occupiers Liability Act in Alberta to prevent rural Albertans who are taking steps to protect themselves, their families, and their property from criminal and civil liability. I think the time has come for us to do the same thing with the criminal code.
If you want to hear more, subscribe to The Roy Green Show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you find your favorites. And if you like what you hear, leave us a review and tell a friend. I'm Roy Green. Have a great weekend.